Well, it's that festive season once again, and as promised, we're going to answer a few of your most burning questions. So without any further ado, let's get to it. Let's start off with Federico Talks Watches, who wants to know what the talking hand guy has in his personal collection. Well, here's the short answer. Nothing. I'm a one in, one out kind of person, always have been. I used to be a civil engineer, and I celebrated qualification by getting myself a Submariner 14060M back when they were around £2,000, because I knew they were special, but didn't know much more than that. Actually, owning that watch made me realise that a mechanical timepiece was more enjoyable to me than just a name, that there was a history, engineering and precision to appreciate as well. I then progressed to a GMT Master 116710LN, and after that went all in on a Royal Oak 15300. But I'd realised that engineering wasn't what I wanted to do with my life, that I wanted to do something I was passionate about. So I joined Watchfinder. As well as starting a new interesting role producing content for the brand, I also got to enjoy watches that I'd never have considered before, such as a Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor chronograph, an RS Divers 65, and even a Roger Dubuis La Monégasque. But there is a brand that I was introduced to in this role that I just can't get out of my head. It's the reason I currently don't have a watch, because I'm in full saving mode. I want an A. Lange & Söhne. It can be the cheapest, smallest one, I don't care. I just have to have one. If the powers that be are watching, I have been very good this year. Virtual Mix asks, if you could only possess one watch, what would it be? I'm not sure how I feel about committing to just one watch for the rest of my life. Could I do it? It would have to be a pretty special watch. It could be something crazy like a Richard Mille RM027. I admit I have a soft spot for Richard Mille. Or even an MB&F LM1. But I think that would be a bit like trying to use a Koenigsegg as a daily driver. And there's vintage, but a similar theory applies. Some kind of vintage complication would be amazing, but as an only watch would be akin to driving an E-Type on a morning commute every day. No, it has to be something classic, something timeless, something with a bit of wow factor, but not so in your face that it burns through the honeymoon period in a week. Something like an FP Journe Chronomètre Bleu, perhaps. Still a bit too exotic. If I've got to hang on to this thing for a lifetime, then sensible questions about dealer networks and servicing arise. Okay, so this is probably going to be fairly unsurprising given the answer to the last question, but it would have to be an A. Lange & Söhne, the 1815 Chronograph Boutique Edition. It's sedate enough to wear indefinitely, has a pop of colour that makes it unique, and that movement. What more could a watch enthusiast ever want? The Stone Cold 96 wants to know, what is the camera gear you use? This is a question that pops up a lot, and given the reflective, high dynamic nature of a wristwatch, a good camera is an important part of capturing attractive images. It's important but not essential. The camera, a Blackmagic design Ursa Mini, gives us excellent latitude to capture all the details and highlights and shadows, but what you see here is as much about the lighting as it is the sensor it hits. We use just two lights, a 2 kilowatt key, that's the main light, and a 1 kilowatt fill to lessen the contrast ratio. It's quite a lot of power, and it means we can shoot with the lenses, Sigma 50 to 100mm art for the wides, Canon 100mm macro and 65mm MPE macro for the close and extreme close, stop down for more depth of field, that is, less falling out of focus. We shoot those lights through diffusion material that softens the light, makes it bigger to wrap it around all the little details. Not too soft though, or those details would start to flatten and disappear. What goes on behind the scenes in the colour grade is where the magic really happens. Our eyes do an amazing job of balancing highlights and shadow, ignoring things like glare while really latching onto detail. A camera just can't do that, and so it's in the colour grading that we make the image look more like what we want to see. This means boosting the contrast behind crystals to counter glare, selectively reining in errant highlights on polished cases, adjusting colours that have been shifted by anti-reflective coatings, and only then do the images start to look like the watch in your hand. And just to show you that you don't need an Ursa Mini or Red Epic or Arri Alexa to get pleasing images, we shot this whole segment with an iPhone X. .555 Gear wants to know, what watches are the most difficult to film? Long-term viewers of the channel may remember the comparison we did between a selection of watches and a match head, demonstrating just how higher value watches generally stand up to scrutiny far better, for obvious reasons. We give you a view that you're unlikely to see anywhere else, blowing up a few millimeters of watch onto your televisions, computers and phones to show you just how deep the rabbit hole goes. And this is what can prove challenging. It's hard to imagine just how small a section you're looking at until you compare it to the watch in your hand. There are details that fill the screen that just can't be seen with the naked eye. At this level, motes of dust become clumps of dirt, and a speck of oil becomes an oil slick, and you can really see where the time and effort goes into watches that command the higher price tags. What can look really nice in the hand can become a ragged mess under magnification, and what costs as much as a house continues its perfection all the way down. So it's less about the watches that are hard to film and more about the watches that are easy to film. Better materials, better finishing, better anti-reflective coating. It comes at a cost, but always looks fantastic in front of the lens. Bnardem Panormal asks, do you, the narrator, script these videos, or is there a team behind it? I joined Watchfinder because I wanted to create content about something I loved, and that's happened in many forms since: print, online, television, and of course YouTube. I've been given opportunity after opportunity because Watchfinder is the kind of place that promotes enthusiasm and pride, learning and experimentation. The YouTube channel started off as a bit of a passion project, a desire to express what we know and love about watches in a more relaxed and conversational environment. Between a couple of us, whose identities would have been spotted in previous videos by eagle-eyed viewers, we wrote a script, recorded some footage, cobbled it together and presented what we had. The green light was given and the channel grew to what you see today. Of course, there's no ignoring that the channel serves to promote Watchfinder, but it's produced by the same few people now as it was then, and we are driven by our enthusiasm for watches and creativity. And we've always produced everything we can in-house because we know what we like, can express the passion we have most clearly, have the ability to do so, and primarily because we want to do it. The only real sticking point is the same now as it always was: finding time to make the content between episodes of QI. Thank you all for your comments and questions. We love reading them. We don't often have the time to write back, so I hope this goes some way to showing you all that we appreciate you watching. I'd also like to add that yes, my arms are hairy, no, I don't have a lisp, and yes, I do my own manicures. I hope that gives you all a little insight into what we do and how we do it. It's been an amazing year for us and me personally, and it fills me with pride to have been on this journey with Watchfinder and with all of you. Let's hope we get to continue on for many more years to come. Enjoy the rest of the holidays and see you in 2019. Discover more exceptional watches at watchfinder.co.uk. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If there are any other watches you'd like to see reviewed, please let us know in the comments below.